Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your girl November, real name Mariah, coming back to you with another video. My video today, I wanted to go over my experience that I had at AGBOLC. For you guys who don't know, I don't know really why you would click on this if you wasn't in the military, but if you are, hey, feel free to watch and learn a little bit. Maybe you will like to join the military one day. But yeah, so AGBOLC. So BOLC, our AGBOLC is in South Carolina, Fort Jackson. It's a 12-week course. However, for me, it turned into a 14-week course because when I went to BOLC, it was actually during the height of COVID. I went from September to December of 2020. Right now, during the time of this recording, is now January 2021. So when you go to BOLC, it might be different from the experience I had, but this is just a little tip for you guys to kind of help you out if you're wondering what BOLC is like. The reason why I decided to do this video is because I'm the type of person, I really like to research what I'm getting into. I get super nervous and scared when I don't know what's gonna go on, what's gonna happen. And when I was doing my research, really didn't find a whole lot on BOLC, or AGBOLC, I should say. And so I just want to kind of contribute and help people who are like me, who like to kind of do a little research and study before they jump into something. So I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible. Honestly, I can't remember every detail that happened at BOLC. It was a month ago since I graduated, but hopefully I can do my best. I have my cheat sheet, my note card, so if you see me like looking down and like referencing my cards, that's why. Sorry, I had to do it. But anyway, just jumping right in. So like I said, I was at AGBOLC there for 14 weeks, and it wasn't too bad. But let's see, going through my cards. So when you get there, you check into the IHG hotel right there on post, and you're a part of one or two classes. So 2 classes come in at a time, and I was a part of class 11, and the other class was class 12. There's about 35 students in each class. You don't do much with the other class except for when you're in CAD week and CTE, and I'll talk about what those are in a little bit later. So yeah, when you get there, you check into the hotel, and so the first 2 weeks is quarantine. Quarantine is actually real quarantine. You cannot leave your room. You can't even go like visit other people. So how quarantine works, so when you get there, it's actually day 0. Right, and then so the next day is day 1. First thing you do in the morning, we took a COVID test, rightfully so, right? Out of 70 students, only 1 person came back positive, and so he ended up having to move out and go to another hotel where they house all the people who test positive for COVID. But he was asymptomatic; he didn't know he had it, so you know. So after that, like I said, you do PT during quarantine, but it's real simple PT. It's real light. It's instructed by the first sergeant, and he's really just going over PRT. It's nothing strenuous. You ain't running 5 miles or nothing like that. It's real simple. It was a lot of fun. The first sergeant was really funny, so we was really like laughing and giggling during PT. Not, very officer like, I guess, but it was a lot of fun though. And then so how meals go though, you eat breakfast chow from the hotel breakfast that they provide. It's not a huge sit down. It's like a biscuit, a muffin, some cereal, some orange juice, and some coffee. That's it. And so you get that. And for lunch chow, we got hot A's. And then for dinner chow, we got an MRE. So that's for a whole 2 weeks you're eating like that. So it wasn't fun. But also while you're in quarantine, you do have instruction. We have briefs. We had a lot of briefs. The briefings were from like sharp to meeting like the chaplain, a lot of introductory type briefs on how the course is going to go and different things like that. Not gonna lie, I probably didn't pay attention to any of the briefs because none of the briefs were something that was testable information. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm like telling on myself, but a lot of times I was just like laying in bed just listening to it because it's through Microsoft Teams. So you would have to download Microsoft Teams if you don't have it on your computer already. So that pretty much sums up quarantine. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. Hopefully when you go, maybe this whole COVID stuff will blow over and you won't have a 2-week quarantine. Maybe you will, maybe your quarantine experience will be different from mine, but that was my experience. So I'm not going to go into like week by week because like I said, it was 14 weeks. I cannot remember every little detail we did every week. So I'm just going to kind of just break down like the big chunks of what we did in chronological order, or not really any order, but I'm just not going to go week by week. Because if I do that, like I said, it's going to be really long and I just don't remember. So one thing that we did do there was the ACFT. And I know in past courses, you did the APFT the first week. I want to say like the last day, on that Friday of the first actual week. And I guess it's just a diagnosis, or it might have been Frecker, but I don't know. Like I said, that was prior to me actually going. And so, you know, the Army now is doing the ACFT. And so we didn't do that. We didn't do the APFT the first week. So we did do the ACFT, but it wasn't until a month in. It was actually on November 5th. November 5th, that's my birthday. Anyway, I did have a birthday while I was at AGBOLC. I turned 29. Yes, I'm 29. But anyway, so we did the ACFT. Now, in my case, I did not actually do the ACFT. It is January 2021. I have still not yet done the ACFT. Because I didn't do it because I was actually on profile for my foot. I had an injured foot, and it was just during PT one day. We were running, I want to say, quarter-mile splits. We did like 10 laps, so 2.5 miles of that. And literally on the last quarter mile, my foot was just like in agonizing pain. And then I was on profile for 2 weeks, and so thus I missed doing the ACFT. But it wasn't for record. It was just a diagnostic, so it was really no big deal that I didn't do it. I was actually the only one in me and another girl were the only ones in our class who didn't get a chance to do it. But everybody in my class did pass. So hey guys, like, I know everybody stresses out about the pull-ups and stuff like that, but yeah, it's doable. Everybody in my class passed, so no worries on that. And then so also at AGBOLC you have ruck marches. I want to say ruck marches because we had no rucksacks. So during CIF, we were not issued any rucksacks. We weren't. So when we did our ruck marches, we actually did it with our assault pack. So I guess it's more so of a foot march. So like I said, it's 4 ruck marches throughout the entirety of the course. It's 2 6 miles, 1 8 mile, and 1 10 mile. And then also the first week, I will say you do your medical, dental, and your hearing as well. So exams, you take 2 exams while at AGBOLC. It's the Man the Force exam and the HR services exam. How the exams are composed, they are 8 questions and they are short essay form. So you get like a little chunk of paragraph and you have to write a paragraph. It is time consuming. However, you do get 4 hours to finish the course or finish the exam, which is just the right amount of time. Some people probably finish in 2 hours. I definitely took the whole entire 4 hours to do it. I'm not saying that I'm not good at testing. It was just the wording was a little weird, and so it got a little confusing. During the exam or for the exam, you do get access, or you get provided the regulations, so like FM 1-0 and different things like that, but you are not allowed notes. So all the notes that you're taking while you're actually learning the instruction, you're not allowed to have that, but you do get the regulation. So you're going to control the mess out of that thing. The only thing I will say, the negative, because I'm telling you my experience, but they did tell us at our like end of course AAR that they're actually completely switching the exams. So honestly, I want to say my class was the last class, or maybe there was one more class after us that graduated before the new year. And so I want to say that they was the last class who got this exam structure. So the exam structure might be different in the future. So don't hold me to this part of my video, unfortunately. Let's see, what's next? Oh, writing assignments. So you have several writing assignments. I want to say there's 6 in total, and I have it listed out here. So you have the leadership philosophy paper, you have an exam to write, an information paper, a congressional response, an ARCOM, which is an award, and then a personal recommendation letter that you have to write. They're not that hard, you guys. Good thing about the Army, I will tell you, plagiarism is a thing. You won't get in trouble for plagiarism. You can literally look up something, copy and paste it, and just make it fit to what you're trying to say. That's it. So don't stress about, oh, gotta be so original. Plagiarism is okay in the Army. And then you also have briefs too. So we did, can't remember the exact number, but I have some written down here. You have a history brief. That's actually the very first brief that you do. Information paper brief. So the information paper that you wrote, you actually have to then do a brief on it. And it's actually really fun because you get to do it on a topic that you actually like about. I did mine. So I'm actually in the National Guard here in Texas. And I did my information paper and information brief on the struggles that National Guard members have during their civilian employment. I don't know how many National Guard people and reservists too, because this applies to you guys as well, may watch this, but you may know that it's quite difficult to maintain a civilian career while you're in the National Guard. My employer, I commend them a lot, Granger, shout out to Granger. They have been very helpful with me. I've been gone a lot in 2020 due to COVID, due to riots, due to me coming to BOLC, you know what I mean? So I really do appreciate my employer, but that's what I did my paper on. So I don't mean to get off topic, but yeah, you get to, you know, do your paper on what means something to you. So that's cool. You also do an HR metrics brief, a D180 brief, an evaluation brief, and then also an Army program brief. So my group, we did the ABCP, which is the Army Body Composition Program. Every group gets assigned their own program. That was just the one that I got. And then the briefings are not hard either. You're gonna be with this guy called Rick Main. I hope he's still there. Whoever's watching this, I hope Rick Main, that's my dude. I hope he's still there. He is the coolest guy. And even my instructor for class 11, I had Captain Cannon. Unfortunately, who may be watching this, Captain Cannon, I was actually a part of his very last class, so you will not be able to experience the wonderfulness of Captain Cannon. But when I see him in the future, he will definitely be Major Cannon. So shout out to Captain Future Major Cannon. And then lastly, when it comes to classroom instruction, you also have certifications. You have a lot of certifications to finish, like from quarantine to the end. Like you doing all this stuff and you still got to finish the certifications. And I wrote these suckers down. So you have a cyber awareness, risk management, iPerms, meal pay, Skillsoft. So that's getting a certification in beginner level Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And then you have a TARP certification, OPSEC, and then an anti-terrorism awareness level 1. You have to do all that in 14 weeks. Some of you 12 weeks. It's a lot. And it's all bunched up together. It's not like it's spaced out. Like you'll have one due on Monday and another one due Wednesday. Like it's crazy. And some of them are short and then some of them are really long too. So just saying. Okay, and then now I'm going to get into CAD week. Good old CAD week. I do not know what CAD stands for. I don't. But CAD week is when you're kind of doing almost like the light infantry stuff. So CAD week, you're not with your original instructor. You're actually handed off to another group of instructors and contractors who are majority infantry. Little side note, I did not like them very much. I'm not gonna lie. You know, AG, we tend to have this stigma attached to us because, you know, we're paper pushers, right? And so then you take these bunch of infantry guys who are all whole and stuff like that. And so one of them in particular was very insulting. I'm not going to name anybody's name, but if he was to see this, he know who I'm talking about. But maybe hopefully you'll have a different experience with the CAD instructors than I did. But CAD week, like I said, you're out in the field for a week. And that's when you do your weapons qual and your land nav. So for Monday, first day, it's really simple. You're not even in the field yet. You're just at the simulator. I can't remember the acronym for that simulator, but when you're simulating for the weapons qual, right? And then the next day on Tuesday, you get issued your weapon, and we went out into the field. So in the morning, we did our group in 0 and then had lunch. And then after child lunch, we qualified at the actual live range. I I was able to qualify after my second go around, because my first go around I had my gun jammed, or my weapon jammed or whatever, but I ended up getting in on the second, so it was pretty cool, pretty simple stuff, so nothing to worry about. And then you do spend the night in the field that night. However, we did not, and the reason why we did not, because the site where we were going to set up our AO didn't have any porta-johns. So I didn't know that this was like an Army regulation that if you're in training in the AO area and there's no porta-johns, you can't spend the night out there. So we actually got lucky and was able to sleep back at the hotel that night when we weren't supposed to. And good thing too, because that asshole sergeant I was telling you about wanted us to dig holes. Now I heard that digging a hole during CAD week is common practice. But he was just like, yeah, you gotta dig the hole the size of your E-tool. And we're gonna check everybody's E-tool. And if it's not that size, then you're gonna have to dig a hole to your waist. And if it's not to your waist, then I'm gonna make you dig a hole to your chest. And the dude was just all extra. He wasn't even the NCOIC. And so the major came around and pretty much told him to shut the fuck up, to be honest with you. But like I said, we didn't have to go through none of that because there were no porta-johns. So we didn't have to sleep out in the field. So we got lucky. And then so the next day we got up and went to do land nav practice. So with land nav, you practice on a completely different course than the course you're actually going to test on. And it was really simple, to be honest. Land nav is actually one of my favorite things to do in the Army. It stresses me out when I'm doing it. But then after I find my first point, I get a boost of confidence. And it's like God is just leading me to my points. So Wednesday, Wednesday, you get out, you do the practice. So first you do it in a group with an instructor or a contractor leading you. And then it's just more of a refresher because I hadn't did land nav since OCS. So it had been a while since I had did land nav. And the course at OCS, if you ever been to OCS, I know a lot of people in my class were actually ROTC. I think there was only probably like 10 of us who were actually OCS. And so if you ever went to OCS, the land nav course there is much harder than the one you're going to do at Fort Jackson opposed to Fort Benning. So don't sweat it. And so let me get back to where I was going though. You go for the practice run with a group, with an instructor or a contractor. Then immediately right after you get no rest, you go back out on your own. Then after that, that's it for the day. You sleep out into the field and then they bus you to the actual testing area. Then you have to get up at the ass crack of dawn because you step off at 4 a.m. to start looking for your points. So I got up at 2:45 because they wanted us in the area to get started at 3:30 and then, like I said, step off at 4. So needless to say, I didn't get any sleep. And yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was freezing cold. I will say it was freezing cold because it was late November, early December when this was going on. And so it was pretty cold. My hands were literally freezing when I was doing this. And it wasn't bad. You have to find 6 out of 8 points, and that was it. And mind you, I was doing this still with an injured foot, so it took me a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I found 6 out of 8 points in just 2 hours, and you get 5 hours. So yeah, so no worries on that. And then let's see, finally, so you do 2 days of PT with the instructors. It's pretty simple PT. And then you're supposed to do the 10-mile ruck march. Now, we did not do the 10-mile ruck march, and I will tell you why in the end, because I kind of want to detail a little bit of the drama that was going on with me and my group. It was a lot of drama, but I don't want to get into too much detail, but yeah. And then the 10-mile ruck. And so that's CAT week in a nutshell. I hope that helped. And then finally after that, the last thing you do for a grade is CTE. Oh, and let me just backtrack. Weapons Qual and Land Nav is a graduation requirement, so you got to pass those. And so CTE. Again, I don't know what CTE stands for. Do not ask me. But CTE is pretty much a field training environment where you're out doing... Oh, my brother's calling me. I'm not gonna answer this. Anyway, because I don't feel like editing that. Yeah, I like to do like one-shot takes. I'm not editing that. He's gonna call me back. He's gonna call me back. I know he is. Please don't call me. I should have told him that I was freaking doing a video, but whatever. Anyway, so what was I getting at? Dang, he made me lose track. Damn, I'm gonna get back. Okay, so you're in a field environment where you're kind of replicating a deployed environment. So pretty much what you'll be doing if you ever, when you get deployed, your S1 duties and that. So you first issued your weapon and you do a 3-mile foot march to the actual AO site where you're going to be sleeping for the entire week for CAD week, or CTE, excuse me. And then you get to do 6 hours on, 6 hours off. So for both CAD week and CTE, you are partnered with that other class. So we did 6 hours on, 6 hours off. And so it rotated because CTE is a 24-hour operation. We were actually the very first class to do these 6-hour shifts. We were told in the past that classes actually do 12-hour shifts. Not a fan of the 6-hour shifts. I will tell you why later. Let's see. Kind of going over just like an overview of what we did. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail. So for CTE, the structure, you're broken down into battalions and then a brigade. So it's about 5 people per battalion, and it's 6 battalions, 1 brigade. And so, like I said, you use a CPOF system, the same one you would use when you get deployed. And honestly, it's just simulating tracking casualties. That's all it is. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. You're just tracking casualties. I was a part of the 6-9 cav, because you get a whole op board that you have to read. And I was a part of the 6-9 cav, which had the most casualties because we were actually a part of the reconnaissance. So we were actually the first ones to lead out in the mission. And we had like a lot of casualties, and you have to report and track, and it's a lot. Like AG, people talk about AG, but AG has a lot of responsibilities that I think the other branches just do not realize. We man the force, you know what I mean? And so that's really what CTE was when it came to that. And so after, I guess each shift, each 6-hour shift, you have to do a brief. I was actually the first one in my battalion to do the briefing. It was very nerve-wracking because you're briefing in front of a field grade officer. I think all of them were majors in the AG field. And yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking just because there was a lot of stuff that I wasn't really comfortable with, I wasn't familiar with. Even still now, you know, like I said, I'm not really just too understanding of all my duties. But hey, that's the Army, you learn as you go, right? And so, yeah, you do a brief after every shift. And then also I forgot to add that each battalion has an OIC. And at the very final brief, the OIC briefs a major, and oh, he was tough on them. I really actually felt really bad for the OICs compared to me, because I actually got lucky because I did the first briefing, so they were a little more lenient on me and all the people who went first, because we were the first ones. They didn't really expect us to know. So the more briefs, the more they expect you to kind of know, because they ask a lot of questions, but it's simulating what your commander would ask you, you know what I mean, when you're deployed. So it's actually really important. And like I said, it's really just strength reporting. You have to know your numbers. I tell that to anybody in AG, strength reporting is your thing. That's what we do, you know what I mean? And so other duties that you did at CTE, you did have to pull security. That was a 24-hour mission as well. We did convoy ops. Oh, also we did convoy ops during CAD week. I forgot to add that. So you did convoy ops in CAD week, and then you also did it again during CTE. It was really pointless. We had to get up. Oh, all right. I'm gonna get into the detail. We had to do our convoy op at 3 o'clock in the morning, literally cutting our sleep time in half. So we only got like 2 hours of sleep. And then I had to do a freaking convoy op. And if you ever did a convoy op, it's like a little video game. When I said everybody and their mama was falling asleep, And the only people who were actually doing something was the driver, because they're the driver. I was the gunner. I had my head down on the desk. I'm sorry. I was exhausted by this point that we did, because we already did it for for CAD week. So why the heck are we doing it again for freaking CTE? It makes no sense. But anyway, you also do a stick lane. It's just one stick lane. If my OCS people, you know, stick lanes is that thing, you know what I'm saying? Stick lanes is that thing for OCS. You're out there for 3 whole weeks, sweating and stinking and all that stuff like that. But the stick lane during CTE, it was another waste of time type of thing. But it was a nice refresher. I hadn't did a stick lane in a long time, so that was it. And I was actually selected as the squad leader, so that was kind of cool. You also do a VSAT brief. A VSAT is this big, huge, like, satellite disk that AG uses as their telecommunications system. So it's pretty important. I would actually say pay attention to that. And that is actually something that is briefed by your peers, not by an instructor. So you might want to encourage them. My group who did it, they did a phenomenal job. Like, kudos to them. Again, I hope one of them might watch this. Hey, shout out to my girl Smith. She know who I'm talking about. But yeah, so that was CTE in a nutshell. And then after CTE, you graduate. Our graduation was a little different because, like I said, it was COVID, so no one was allowed to be there. So my best friend actually flew down, because like I said, I'm from Texas, and I drove my POV all the way from Texas to Columbia, South Carolina, which is a 17-hour drive. And so my best friend, he flew down to help me drive back, and, you know, he wanted to, you know, see me graduate, but I had to tell him, like, hey, like, they're not letting us have any friends and family. So it was a little weird having a graduation with just the students. There was no family or friends there to cheer you on when they called your name to walk across the stage, but no big deal. I understand, you know, COVID is a serious disease or infection virus, so no bigs on that one. So yeah, that was really BOLC in a nutshell. I hope I wasn't too confusing to you guys. I hope I was clear as I can be. Like I said, I'm not gonna edit this. I'm just gonna post it, so I hope you like it. Now finally, I will get into some of the drama. I don't want to say drama. I keep myself out of it. But there was an outbreak of COVID while I was there. I want to say 11 people ended up catching COVID in 6 days. And it was during CAD week. And it was a hot mess. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried. I was, because I did not want to catch COVID. So that's the whole reason why we didn't do our 10-mile ruck march. Because finally, after, I want to say day 3, the commandant said, hey, we got to put you guys back on lockdown. So one thing that I did not mention is at BOLC, it's a gentleman's course. You know what I mean? After class, you got to go off post. We got to, you know, be off on the weekends. It's Monday through Friday. You're off on the weekends. It's not like basic training. It's not like OCS. And so I really like that freedom. And when the outbreak of COVID happened, they put us right back on lockdown. So I could not go off post anymore. So the last 4 weeks of my experience at BOLC, we had to go back on lockdown. A lot of people were upset. I wasn't tripping. I'm like, hey, I'm grown. I just want to go back home anyway. I'm National Guard. I'm not going to a different duty station like the active duty people. I'm going back home. I could do 4 weeks on lockdown, take my ass back home. But I would say it was effective, because after they put us back on lockdown, there were no more cases. There were no more positive cases. And I'm blessed and I'm lucky that I didn't catch it. So I want to say just 2 people in my class caught it, and then about 9 people in the other class that was conjoined with us caught it. So, but yeah, so that happened. And they're doing something as peer evals now. I want to say they're starting to issue this throughout the entire Army. The peer evals was funny because it'll show you just how, like, mean some people are. Like, I wish some people would really just kind of say what they mean in front of you, but whatever. But I don't want to get down on a sad note or whatever like that. I had a great time at BOLC. It was great kind of getting away from my civilian life for a little bit. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, man. I'll try to pump out more media, more content more frequently. Hit me up on my Instagram as well at Mariah the Housley. I know it's weird. You can hit me on Facebook too. It's just Mariah Housing. My brother is calling me. It's about the second time he called me. I was like trying to power through it because it was distracting me a little bit, but it's fine. But hey, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you guys.